The S24 Ultra is just here around the corner. We are going to see it in the next few days, probably 2 days, and hopefully have it here on this table. But the S23 Ultra is still not done. January update received a couple of days. I wanted to allow myself some time and space to test it. So in this video, guys, I'm going to focus on what I think was improved, which is a bit hard because remember, this year is only 1 megabytes BWJM and it's usually just a security update. But you never know with Samsung. Let me show you why. The moment you click their own page, right, you can just see it's no changelog whatsoever. And Samsung has the history of, let's say, fixing things under the hood and also, sadly, sometimes, well, just break something. So we always have to redo at least the basic test to make sure that, well, we have what we have or something really got changed. But now back in this update, all eyes are already on S24. 2 days before the launch, let's just review the January update, January firmware for the S23 Ultra. And you know how it goes, guys. I always start with some of my animation testing to just make sure to check the consistency and the smoothness of the One UI and the execution. So far, going inside my quick settings and menus, checking all my notifications, even getting rid of them. So far, I would say so good. In these 2 days, I didn't really have these stutters. Occasionally in the December update, I was plagued with this bug where I, let's say, open Facebook or even X, it would lock on 120 Hz refresh rate, then will drop and stay on 60. And every time I was going in and out, really, this was driving me crazy because it was really fixed to 60 Hz refresh and it was awful. Now, the way I was able to resolve it, sadly, I had to clear the cache from the Battery Guardian and even uninstall it. And that's a sad thing, but at least now, without the Battery Guardian, I don't have these problems anymore. I use the Battery Guardian to do some videos for you to try to fix the refresh rate for some of the applications, which I believe got those corrupted in the first place. So, in terms of animations, I would say it's okay. In terms of navigation, it is really very responsive. I would say that Samsung are on the right path. And if you've seen all the leaks about One UI 6.1, I hope that they will be able to manifest a stutter-free interface with One UI 6.1, not only for the S24 series, guys, but also for the other phones like S21, 2, 3A, whatever, who's getting the One UI 6.1. So animations, I would say, is nice. Now, let's just try to do some more checks. This here is the edge panel. In some of the previous versions and test, just doing this action would get the phone to stutter like crazy. Right now, as you can see, it's really almost flawless. I would say actually it's flawless, right? So it's quite nice. If I am to open here my split screen, I can check that all my apps will work okay. I can change the screen. I can decide to zoom in on this or that app. I can, of course, also minimize the app and run them in a pop-up mode and even again minimize them, keep them here. By the way, this is a very neat feature and one of the reasons why we all love One UI. And I know that a lot of other vendors and OEMs, they have a lot of plenty tricks like this, but One UI is really so consistent in putting more and more extras. Now, if we are to check some of the major apps, it's still the same versioning. So the One UI Home is 15.0.055. There is, by the way, a new version that is still not available to me via my Galaxy Store, but you can download this from an APK if you want. So some updates also for good luck, but nothing major. And with that said, guys, I want to focus on some of the things that, yeah, well, let's say are a bit problematic. And as part of this, I will also share my battery usage. So the first day I was testing the January update, I was already at 3 hours screen on time and still left with 48% of a battery, which you might think will get me something like 6 hours. Well, I have to disappoint you, my friends. No, I was left with 16% at the end, with still not 5 hours. And well, this is kind of sad. Now, I have, of course, to say something very important. I have a rather consistent type of usage. Get early in the morning, go outside, have coffee, use the phone on 5G probably for an hour, 2-3 hours per day. Not using Wi-Fi outside my home or my office. So it's probably good, but I see some people getting like 8, 9, 10 hours and I really am not able to get this with my type of usage. A lot of music, a lot of streaming, a lot of heavy camera usage. The moment I got to almost midnight, I had 4 hours, 38 minutes and 12%. And then guess what happened, guys? Boom. Well, the moment I get to the next day, the statistic resetted, which eventually is disappointing. And also, battery usage 102%. So please, Samsung, if you're watching this, I know you're not, but make sure to bring the previous statistic back. I don't like this too much, to be honest, and I know a lot of people outside are also not digging this too well. And yeah, why? Because here with this 12%, I was hoping to at least get to 5-hour screen on time. Did you notice something, guys? Pay attention to the screenshot and to that screenshot. And yeah, well, it's not the battery. Now look close here, right? Okay, yeah, I think you've seen the elephant in the room. One of the bugs that I had with the January update is the moment I change my resolution to FHD, well, it just stayed like this. So I know I can go back inside developer option and try to play manually, but it simply would be like this, and yeah, this is totally unacceptable. The other day I was using my phone to drive around, and of course I was using Google Maps, and if you cannot tell, guys, this is indeed Google Maps. I had to go outside of the application, minimize it, and I got still the same result. So I'm not blaming Samsung here or Google, it may be both, right? But this is really far from ideal. And what is more interesting is that I didn't come across these bugs even in the One UI 6, I think 9 betas that we tested. So again, Samsung always finding a way to surprise us. Now, let's speak about the camera. You always know that one of the biggest problems with the Samsung camera is the shutter lock. I'm using video mode, usually 30, to be able to switch from the main camera to the telecamera and the ultra wide. And you can see it's still not perfect, it's slow. And I honestly believe and I hope that S24 Ultra really should be able to do a better job, and it's the same in the picture mode, guys. I'm gonna show you like ultra wide going to 1, 2, 3. Well, it's just a bit slower than usually what we expect from a premium phone. And also, Samsung, please put a dial here. It's just so better. You can just use more space and just reach more magnification. It's almost not possible to do this in this linear way. It's gonna be 1000% better when we have something like a dial here. And to go back to one of the biggest issues with the Samsung camera, that's the shutter lock, guys. Like usually you get invited to a kid's party, you bring your phone, boom, you do some pictures. Well, from 10 pictures, maybe 8 are crop. Why? Because Samsung phones are not so good at really taking pictures at moving kids, whatever moving things. But honestly, yeah, if you have luck or if you use, let's say, medium processing like I do from the advanced intelligence option, then you're still able to do some nice shots. And I'm really happy with the way the camera works. You can just see this pigeon move here. It's absolutely stunning. The 3x and 10x cameras are one of the major things that I like about this phone. Like, just look at this shot. Like, this is impossible to get it without a proper magnification. Portrait shots and kids and faces, that's all nice. And honestly, guys, I don't have a feeling that something degraded. See here, the color rendition is very nice. It's kind of a pleasure for me to use this phone and take pictures. And again, I'm really a heavy zoom user, you can tell from here. So honestly, I'm crossing my fingers that S24 series will not really let us down in terms of zoom. This here is also a zoom photo. Now let's say some words about the benchmarks. I did the Geekbench 6 test today, and you remember the times I was not so happy when Geekbench 6 didn't have the history. But the test on December showed 1930 for the single core, and the one from January is a bit better. But what is most important is that you can just see the results from the 7th of November, the 14th, and the December and January test. It is consistent, guys. And I believe this is not a secret. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is really a top chip. Performance, also energy efficient. The way it's implemented here in the S23 Ultra, really not allowing the phone to run so hot, but also really give you a good performance. And you've seen all the crazy heavy duty battle performance tests, like compared to the iPhone. Well, you know how this ends, right? So the phone is running cooler, and when you put a lot of strain, it is reaching like 41, 42, 43, like no big changes, of course, with the January update. And again, I know it's technically only supposed to be a security update, but remember, we never know with Samsung, guys. And if you're watching this video and you're stuck on, let's say, July or even June Google Play System update, then make sure to click here and update it, or watch one of my previous videos where I'm showing you how to get the hopefully latest update, which is, yeah, November. I know December is out, but November is still better than the previous state, which was something like June, July. Now let's check some of the widgets. You know, this has been a pain point, and Samsung was not able to fix this with the very first few version of the One UI 6 stable, but they fixed it. Now, while using Spotify, I have sometimes the feeling that still when I close the widgets, it will kind of close abruptly. But I don't want to nitpick on this. Usually those things are very small, and if you not get triggered by them, that's maybe better. Now let's go to the recent menu. You can see so many apps. I'm gonna close everything. I'm gonna do some folder opening and closing just to be able to check again the consistency, smoothness, and the animations, like apps opening and closing. So far, I would say I'm quite happy with the way it is. Some not so common bugs like the one I had with Google Maps and also with the display, but I do believe that it could be also Google, it could be Samsung, maybe even both. With all the focus right now shifting from the S23 to the S24 series, guys, we should not forget the S23 Ultra, bringing the 8th Gen Snapdragon chipset globally. I think this phone is gonna be a legend, and a lot of people are gonna be happy with using it for the next 1 to probably even 3 years. And if you're happy with videos like this, don't forget to check some of my other videos. Don't forget that the Oppo Find X Ultra is also on the way, hopefully. And don't forget to tune in the next days. Hopefully I'm gonna have the S24 Ultra on this very same table. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, VST over and bye.